Hello, everyone. I want to go over product samples that came in from my printer, the Photo Lab, and we're going to do this a little bit differently this time around because I can't get my other camera to work quite the way I want it to. So I moved my chat cam here so that I can show you guys what I'm talking about a lot easier. But these are product samples. They're not really expensive to order, but I ordered quite a few, so this is going to be a little weird because of the camera angle here. But I do want to show you guys the difference between the paper types, and so this is really the easiest way for me to show you guys is to just put it on camera instead of like trying to describe it. But this is the first one, and obviously there's different languages on some of this stuff because my printer's in Germany. So this is the first paper type. This is the Fuji Crystal DP2. It's glossy. Let's see if I can get it. And you see the reflection there. Now the color is really good. But you do understand that it's very reflective. Because this is the glossy. Now if you guys want matte, then there's a matte type to this as well, but not from my website though. I just have the glossy kind because the color on here pops a lot more. So yeah, that's the Fuji Crystal DP2, and that's how it reflects in the light. So there's the first one. The next one is, I believe this is another Fuji paper. Yes, this is Fuji Flex High Gloss, and of course, I guess you can tell like the color pops a lot more in comparison. But look at the reflection. The reflection is a lot higher. That's what I call it. So we went from the glossy paper to the high gloss. But yeah, it does have that high gloss in there. I wonder if I can get a comparison on here between the two, just to show you. Now, obviously, in terms of cost, I do like the Crystal DP is the less expensive, but and then the high gloss is quite a bit more expensive. You can see the difference. There's like the difference in color there. Yeah. The color on the high gloss is more saturated, and then as far as the reflection, the reflection on the high gloss is more pronounced. So you really have to be more careful in terms of what type of lighting you have it under. And then the tone of the high gloss is a little bit more of a creamy type of color. The DP is like you guys can see that, the tone on the bottom here. This is white, and this has like more of like a cream tone to it. Some papers do have that. So it just depends on if you think that's going to mess up your print or not. But it does kind of, because you can see like this is more white and this has the more cream tone to it. So it does affect the tone of the paper itself, does affect what your colors look like in your photographs or whatever art medium you're using. But out of the two, I still, even with the tone, I like the high gloss better. But they absolutely, both of them work. All right, so those are the first two. The third one is going to be black and white. Now there is a different, like a couple of different paper types, I believe. But this is the Ilford black and white paper. So in terms of reflection, yeah, that's up there. This is the glossy though. And then the detail within that. Very, very nice. Now, obviously, if you take a color photograph and you print it on black and white, it's going to be black and white. So with my inventory, if it's a color photograph, then I'm not going to offer black and white paper with it. So that's the only thing. Now, if you have a black and white photograph, you can print that on the Fuji DP2, even though that's, color. You can print color on there as well. But yeah, you can't go the other way around, vice versa with that. So very nice Ilford paper. Now the other one, I forget which one this is. Oh, this is the Barita. Now this is very heavy. And you see the reflections not as pronounced. It's kind of toned down. It's a flatter. It's not as glossy. The only issue is if I would have this available on the website, it takes a long time to print and be delivered. I think it's well over 2 weeks. So I want the delivery times to be faster than that, obviously, but it's still a nice paper. So in comparison with these two, you got the Ilford, and then you have the Barita. Yeah, the same thing. See the white, and then this has more of a cream on the bottom. So, and then obviously the light. The Barita handles the light better. But I would say like the details in the print, you get better detail with the Ilford than you do in the Barita. So what happens is when you have a more of a glossy paper, the ink actually sits on top of the paper. When the paper is more matte, and this is pretty heavy in comparison to this one. This is a thinner paper. This is a heavier, thicker paper. The ink, when it prints on here, it sinks into the paper fiber itself, where when you have the glossiness on there, the ink sits on top of that, and it doesn't get absorbed into the paper so much. But here you have less glare, and then with the the Ilford, you have more glare. So it's a trade-off for sure. If you pick the glossy, you definitely have to be careful where you hang your work. Because if you put it near more direct lighting, it'll start reflecting off everything else. So yeah, if you notice that the art you already have has too much reflection, then you would definitely go with something that's, I don't want to say matte, but more of like a semi-gloss paper. So you cut down on the reflections. Okay, what do we have next? Because I forgot about this one. This is a glossy canvas, which is actually available. So you see, like this one down here, this is pure white in terms of what you're printing on, and then you're getting the texture of the canvas in there. Obviously, if you want to, light doesn't really affect it much. The only thing that I don't like as much is that the detail gets lost in here with the because of the canvas texture. Now, some people like that sort of style because it comes across more like a painting, and then some folks like me want to see as much, more detail, tack sharp as possible. But it just depends. And then some, especially again, this is more like even though it's glossy canvas, there's really not much in a way of reflections on it. You can tell the light's hitting it, but it's not really reflecting anything. Now you compare that to, let's get a color sample. Say there. So you see the detail in here is a lot sharper than the canvas. But as soon as you turn it into the light, there's no reflection here. You got a lot of reflection here. So that's the trade-off, And then also style. It just depends on if you like the canvas sort of style or that look to it. Okay, so what did I do with the other one? I think that's it. Okay. So what else do I have here? Oh, here we go. So put that aside. This next one, wow. Now this is sort of an in-between. This is a fine art print. Now this is the only fine art print type that I have on the site. And again, down here, it's white, like a pure white. It doesn't have that cream tone or tint to it. The detail is really not that bad. Now you can see the reflection is not that bad either. This is more like the canvas in terms of reflection, but if you're looking for a lot less glare, but you've got more detail in here without the canvas texture, then the fine art pearl. I believe it's pronounced Hanamule. Um, and I believe it's a German paper. So this one, color really pops, a lot of detail, little to no glare on this at all, which is impressive. Now, if I was to compare it with, let's say, well, in terms of detail, I think, let's go back to the high gloss and see how that goes. It's not bad. Now you can see down here, that's a little bit of a cream tint to it. This is like a pure white down here. So that's the paper, the color of the paper. And this, the Hanamule, the fine art pearl, definitely more white. It's not as flashy, I guess you can say. The high gloss is more saturated. This is more toned down in terms of color with the fine art pearl. But again, once you start getting into the reflections, then that's when this one starts to run into problems. So if you are going after the saturation, this is better. If you're going after obviously less glare, then fine art pearl. So the fine art print is an in between. Like if something glossy like this is too much flash, too much glare, but you still want to keep a lot of detail, then the Hanamule is really good. So that's impressive. I think this one surprised me the most out of the samples, where you get that much detail, but that glare is not there. The reflection is not really that bad. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put the canvas away. And actually, I'm going to keep the gloss out since I keep going back to it to compare it to the new ones. Okay. And then the fine art pearl. This one, I believe, is the last, or almost the last one. Oh, wait a minute. I have more. Never mind. I'm going to save this one for last because that sample is very different. Let's see if I can get this one out of here. Okay, there's more. Okay. So we have, this is my favorite product type, if I can get it in focus. This is the Ilford black and white photo print on aluminum backing. Oh wait, no, this is not the one that I was thinking about. But this is one that I wanted to see what it looked like. I wanted to see what it looks like. Yeah, it's got a lot of shine to it. Like a lot of shine. So what I have on my website is I offer the matte version of this, and I wanted to see how reflective the glossy version is. And as you can see, when you start turning it, I mean, you can see a lot. You can see a lot. So The aluminum backing um, is that's really what it is. It's really aluminum that it's mounted on. So you have the photograph is there's the aluminum, then there's the print, and then there's the acrylic on top. Now, when you get it in the right angle, I mean, you can see all the details and how nice it is, but it just reflects like crazy. So that's why I shied away from offering this on the website because for my inventory, because I just think that that's a lot. You would have to put it in a space where even if, especially if you got large windows, you have to use the curtains, but you're still going to see the curtains. Um, I'm thinking, because, yeah, man, okay. It still looks good. It's just very, yeah, you have to be careful with this. Okay. All right, so this one, we're back to the color. This is photo print under matte acrylic glass. So this is what I offer on the website. And as you can see, it's not as reflective. Now, the downside is that it's not as like the color is a little muted. It feels like the color is a little muted. So I would say I would rather lose that high reflection because even if you have something that's richer in color, but then you have all the reflection over it, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. All you're going to see is your reflection in the artwork. So underneath, this is the Fuji DP. So I think that'd be a good comparison to show. Let me grab this. So here is the print by itself, right? That's the Fuji glossy. And then there's the matte. So you see same paper, but the matte acrylic glass is over it. Yeah, so you lose a little of the saturation. You really don't lose detail. It's just how saturated the color is in here between these two. That's the only difference that I can tell. And then also, again, if you don't have the acrylic, the matte acrylic over it, you see how the reflection is affected. You go from you can see the light in the back of me to it's sort of muted. So that's why you get that little, it's kind of like a ghosty kind of appearance to it. But that also, it cuts down the light, the reflection, but it also pulls back some of the saturation. It's not too bad though, now that it's side by side like this. Yeah, so if you want instead of just having a paper by itself and you want it mounted, and I believe this is dye bond on the back. So you have the dye bond and then you have the photograph and then they put the acrylic panel on top. So it's like 3 layers there. And And this is actually my favorite um, product on the site. So all of the work is going to have this particular product available, and I think most of the work is going to have this paper available. Now for my newer pieces that I'm working on, I'm going to go with the high gloss for sure. I'm definitely going to go with the high gloss as a starter, because it's just in terms of like all around how good this looks, the colors look, saturation, detail, like this is the best that I've seen, especially of the sample photo that I have here. So very nice. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I will try my best to address those. But yeah, I found it very interesting how these react to light. Um, Very interesting. Now, obviously, if you order a frame, the frame has glass on it that's anti-reflective, so that's going to help as well. The fine art paper, I mean, if you're going to order the print by itself and you want to keep the reflections down, I would say this is the best for that. And the paper is pretty thick. This is like a thicker paper. Yeah, I would say the fine art paper behind the high gloss. In terms of just paper types, that's really good. Oh, and I missed one. Okay, so this one is just a test that I wanted to see, and this will be the last one that I share. But I don't have this available, but I was just curious to see how it turned out. So they gave me a little card that came over it. It's Chromalux HD metal print, brush glossy. Then it's in different languages. But look at that. That is ridiculous. And again, you're running into a lot of reflection though. That's what I'm nervous about, because this is already mounted. There's the metal on that side. It's very thin, which is not the problem. The problem would be you can see practically everything. It's just extremely reflective. The colors are awesome. It's just, gosh, that's taking a chance in terms of the space that you put it in. How much reflection are you going to get? So, but yeah, in terms of like color, it's amazing. You would definitely have to put the light at the right angle in order for you to get the shine on it without you seeing the light in the print. So, but yeah, that amazed me. They picked the right photograph to highlight this product, but at the same time, it's kind of um, ah, and this is more on the expensive side, of course. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I would have to test out one of my own pieces on this to see how bad that reflection really is on something that I have. I'm thinking if it's something like black, blue, dark blue, how bad is that gonna be? But it like this one too. This is the acrylic, and look at the reflection. The glossy acrylic on there. So I just think that the distraction would be too it's just too much. But anyway, so if you are an artist, whatever your medium, just order samples from your printer, and they will definitely, they'll definitely send you samples. And with them, they are going to reimburse the cost of what I spent on this one to me on my next order. So that's really nice. But that's all I have. And again, if you guys have any questions about anything, then just let me know in the comments, or send me a DM, something like that. So thank you all for your support. I look forward to, I have new work that I'm working on. So I'm going to get into that later on. But for right now, thank you guys for listening. Take care.